This is a must-see video for anybody that's preparing to go for their green card interview. I'm going to take you through 5 critical things that you need to know before you step foot in that interview room. Hi, and thank you for joining me to talk immigration. My name is Andrea Chev, and I'm the managing attorney at Chev Law Group in Los Angeles, California. I've been doing immigration for almost 20 years now, and I put together lots of videos for you so you get all the latest information clearly and concisely so you can be successful whatever type of visa or immigrant benefit that you're trying to get. Make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, hit that subscribe button right now, and don't forget to also hit that notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time a video comes out. Also, do not forget to go over to my social media immediately at Chev Law in Instagram and Facebook, and make sure you're following me because I post there all the time, quick information and quick updates of what's going on. As you all know, things are changing constantly, so it's a much faster portal to get you the information through Instagram, through stories, or through Facebook than to get it through a YouTube channel. I save my YouTube channel for the really important things that take a lot more explanation, or I give you a short snippet on Instagram and then I take you through it, a more comprehensive explanation on YouTube. So don't forget to go over to my social media and follow me right away. Now let's get into this important topic of anybody that's looking to go to a green card interview, especially if it's because you married a U.S. citizen spouse, the 5 things that you need to know before you step into that room with the officer. First, make sure you only answer the questions that you're asked. Now, there is many officers in all the district offices across the United States, and every single one of them has their own way of doing their interview. There's no one way, so make sure you understand that. One person that you talk to that went to an interview might say, oh, it was a breeze and they only took 5 minutes and it was no big deal. And someone else might say that they took 45 minutes and they had a red pen and they went through every single question on the application. So you never know who you're going to get. So the first piece of advice is you must only answer the questions that you're asked. The more you talk, the more you might say something innocently, not that you've done anything wrong, but you might innocently say something that could get the officer to start thinking about other questions that they would have never asked if you didn't say what you were going to say. Number 2, make sure that you and your partner prepare for the interview. Now, even if you've been together for 25 years like I have been with my husband, there are things sometimes that you just don't remember, or things that you need to refresh about your relationship, about how you met, about how you proposed to each other, what was the first date you went on, all these kinds of things. Where was the first apartment or house that you lived in? All these things are things that you should talk about and refresh your memory before you go into the interview. Because sometimes, as solid as the couple is, you walk into the interview and sometimes you're nervous, you're anxious, and you just forget things that you would never forget in any other situation. So make sure you take the time before you step into that interview room and you go through important dates and important relatives and birthdays and when this and when that. So when you're asked those questions, you both have the same answer and you're on the same page. Again, it's not about lying, because we're not lying. You have a very valid marriage, and if you don't have a valid marriage, you shouldn't be in this interview to begin with. But sometimes all of us, because we're put in a situation that's uncomfortable and nerve-wracking, we sometimes completely blank out of things that are obvious that we should know if we've been together a year, 5 years, 25 years. So make sure you sit down together before the interview and you go through important dates and occasions so you're on the same page and you've refreshed your memory. Number 3 is get organized. I cannot stress enough how annoying it is for officers for people to come into an interview and they ask for documents and it takes the couple like 20 minutes just to find one document that they were supposed to bring. So get organized. I tell my clients to make an accordion folder or put them in folders or something, so when the officer asks you for your driver's licenses or your passport or your original marriage certificate, you just pull it out and give it to them. It makes the officer much more relaxed, not as agitated, and it makes the interview go a lot faster. It moves quicker and things go a lot smoother when you're organized and you allow the officer to do their job as quickly and efficiently as possible. So get organized. 4, get your joint documents in order. Now, when you're coming into an interview for your green card and it's about a marriage situation where you married a U.S. citizen and that's how you qualified to get your green card, you must bring with you to the interview joint documents. You need to show the officer that your lives are intertwined, not just superficially, but financially and emotionally. And they do that by looking at joint documents. Are your finances together? Do you have a joint bank account? Do you have a joint lease agreement? Do you have a joint title on a property? Do you have joint car insurance, health insurance? All these documents are critical to show that your lives are intertwined. Also, pictures. They want to see pictures of you guys together. They want to see pictures of you guys together with family, with friends, traveling. They want to see visualization of your relationship. So then they can see that the relationship and the two people sitting in front of them are not just saying they're together, but their lives are intertwined. Now, I always tell my clients as a small tip to bring with you all these documents, at least 5 or 6 of them, along with your photos from your wedding and also photos of you two together. Now, you want to make sure that you organize, like I just said, the previous tip, make sure you organize. You want to bring a copy and an original of each joint document. And when the officer asks you, may I see your joint documents? You don't spend 20 minutes saying, okay, here's my here's my bank statement, and you hand it to them. And here's my health insurance. You want to just put them together in a stack, the originals and a copy in case they want a copy. And when they say, could I have your joint documents? You say, sure, and you hand them the stack of the joint documents. There's no need to go through with them page by page by page, each document. They got it. Believe me, they do hundreds and hundreds of these interviews. They know what they're looking for and they know what they're looking at. So they always can ask if they're confused, or if you feel like they're confused, there's no reason why you can't speak up. But it's better to just say sure and hand it to them and tell them, I have copies here for you of all those documents if you'd like those. But if you don't want those, these are the originals. Now remember, the officer's probably going to want to keep them. So if anything in there, like an original lease document or title insurance or anything that you can't give to them, or a pink slip, make sure you have a copy to give them because they're going to want to keep those joint documents. 5 is make sure that there's closure at the end of your interview. Once you finish your interview and you've given them everything that they've asked for and they've asked all the questions that they want to, you should not leave the interview until you have some sense of how did it go, what's the next steps, how long is it going to be till I hear from you, something of closure. The worst thing that can happen is that someone goes to an interview, it finishes, they get up, walk out with not a piece of paper, with not a word out of the officer's mouth, because then you are clueless. It adds stress where that's unnecessary, and you need to find out what the status of your case is when you leave. Now, in the old days, which wasn't too long ago, at the interviews, they would actually approve you and give you a temporary green card stamp in your passport. Those days are pretty much gone. So a lot of the officers, at least a lot of the officers I've seen recently, will not actually approve you or deny you at the interview. But you can push them to give you some insight on, do you need anything else? Is there anything else missing from your file? Is there any other information you need from me? How long do you think it will be till you hear from me? Did I pass the interview? You can ask those questions at the end. So when you leave, you have an idea of where the interview is, like what happened. And also, it is absolutely critical to get the name of the officer that you're sitting with. Because if you have a problem and you have to contact your attorney that either helped you, or if you need to hire an attorney because something went wrong, you need to have the actual officer's name so the attorney has someone to connect to, or you have someone to connect to. Because believe me, once you leave there, if you don't have their name, they have no idea who you met with. There's hundreds of officers, thousands across the country. So you want to make sure that you get a name and you write it down right away. Who is the officer? A lot of times they will give you a piece of paper that has the next steps on it that you take with you, that has their name on it, but not always. It's your job going in there to make sure you don't leave without something. Okay, those are those 5 critical things that you need to know before you step foot into your green card interview. Now, there's lots and lots and lots of more tips I can give you, but I wanted to get it to 5 on this video. Look for future videos that I will make that will talk about other tips and other things to think about in your green card interview. But to start with, these are some pretty critical 5 things that you need to know and you need to prepare for to have a successful green card interview. Good luck out there, and thank you for spending this time with me, and hopefully that information helps you get your green card fast and efficiently like you deserve it. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on social media.